Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've never been more confused about any political subject in my whole entire life than Marjorie Greene going from Trump is our king. He's like Jesus. You remember who they tried to lock up, like they're trying to lock up Trump? Jesus. Trump's not the Messiah, but he's the Messiah. QAnon, election stolen, all of it. 2, I think Trump's not doing well for the working class. What happened? What happened? All of the stories you hear of some person or entity having dirt on a politician are usually stories about a malicious attempt to make them do something immoral. Is there any way that someone really moral could have gotten dirt on Marjorie and is like blackmailing her into being good? Because this is weird. It's too weird and too abrupt. And I have an explanation, actually, what I think might be the truth behind this that we'll get to in a second. But here's the latest example, her appearing on comedian Tim Dillon's podcast and saying this.
And I'm talking to major manufacturing companies they're saying we support the president, we support what he's trying, his long-term goal, but we're having problems with these tariffs. And now we're having problems. We can't get supplies from this country and we can't get supplies from this country. And there's problems. But have regular people's bank accounts been affected? Has the stress come off? No, that has not happened yet. And that needs to be the major focus. It shouldn't be about helping your crypto donors or your AI donors or welcoming in these people that hated you and spent money to try to beat you, but all of a sudden are excited to come out to the new Rose Garden.
Imagine saying you should be trying to help working class Americans, not your rich crypto donors. That sounds like a lib. Now, here's the tough situation we're in, and this is just a joke because she's still insane on so many issues. And I don't want to participate in whitewashing who she is. I just want to be clear about that. But we should put attention on even Marjorie making some of these criticisms. But what happens if she tries to revoke or give up her MAGA card and wants our card? We'd have to deny it, but that's crazy, huh? That'd be a rare time when I'd be like, okay, it's a big tent, not that big. Okay, it's not that big. I don't know who I would be if I was in the same tent as Marjorie. And I hate tents too. Oh my gosh, camping. And she loves camping probably. See, already we have a problem. Okay, then this.
Prices have not come down at all.
The job market is weak.
Job market is still extremely difficult.
Right.
Wages have not gone up. Health insurance premiums are going to go up. Car insurance goes up every year. People's homeowners insurance goes up. Rent is going up. Young people have no hope of buying a home. And then when they try to buy a home, they end up, like I said, competing with like Blackstone or somebody else.
The average home buyer now is 38 years old. It just came out.
Right.
The average home buyer, 38.
Just going down the list, all the criticisms that we've been talking about. She even looked at the bailout to Milei in Argentina, Trump's ally, sort of right-wing ally, and went, what are we doing there? And then he's doing a concert? I think Tim Dillon brings that up. You remember that?
But what are we doing? We're buying out and doing a buyout with Argentina? Like, huh? $20 billion?
$20 billion.
Bailing them out?
Then he just did a concert. I don't know if you saw the president of Argentina was singing and dancing. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Indeed. Okay, let's get to what I think the explanation might be. And actually, Tara Palmieri broke this down on CNN.
Tara Palmieri is joining us in our fifth seat. Tara, it does kind of seem like Republicans are having a little bit of trouble holding it together in the shutdown, even though technically, by the rules of conventional politics, maybe they should be the ones with the upper hand.
Right. I think that the healthcare issue is certainly sticking. Democrats, they bet on the right one. It seems like they're winning this fight. I mean, they can totally fumble it and mess it up. But for now, I think that they have the ability to do that because the Obamacare subsidies. I mean, it's a real thing. You just heard Marjorie Taylor Greene speak out against it. I do wonder how much of this is political, though, for Marjorie, because, yeah, she's listening to her district, but maybe she's starting to bet on the fact that this administration is not as popular as it seems, and that Republicans are taking the blame for this. And she sees her own career and her own future. She's 51 years old. Maybe in 2028, she's as MAGA as it comes. It'd be pretty hard to prove that she's not MAGA.
I think that might be the truth here. Do we really think Marjorie Greene woke up one day and thought, maybe Trump cares more about himself than the voters who support him? Do we really think that she just bumped into someone and went, oh my gosh, he's making your life worse? I really care about that. If that's true, then what the hell was going on all the years before that? That she wasn't getting that feedback, or she wasn't able to do basic economic assessments? So I think it's more she's positioning herself, because she's never going to get the allegation, I don't think, even though I saw Laura Loomer was saying Marjorie's not MAGA and stabbing Trump in the back. But I think it'll be hard to convince Trump voters that Marjorie isn't MAGA. So she can kind of keep that label, but she can position herself as on the record against the failures of this era. So she can say, hey, I'm as MAGA as they come, but almost the Trump administration didn't fulfill what we wanted as MAGA. And she understands, like, if she tried to run for president, which just stabbed me in the eye with a fork in a world where it's like Marjorie Greene versus whoever. You know what? Here's my thing. If the Republican Party nominates Marjorie, let's just give it a go and renominate Biden. I'm for that's my plan. Let's just have fun with it. No, but I think she might be kind of pondering that. She felt slighted, reportedly, that the Trump administration didn't want her to run for governor or Senate in Georgia and just stay in the House because they didn't think she'd be popular enough to win statewide. Maybe she's thinking, I could position myself as a populist warrior, and for the more moderate voters who are disgusted by me for all the reasons that they should be, I can say, I've changed. At the age of 49 and a half, I realized that all of my conspiracy theories and advocacy up until this point were Looney Tunes. You know when you were 17 and you said a lot of things that you kind of don't believe now and you were just a little bit confused? That was like me at 45. So I've changed a lot since then. No, but I don't even think she would denounce, like, if she's not willing to denounce her election lies and her demonization of everyone, I don't know who on the moderate side of the Republican spectrum will take her seriously, but maybe that's what she's thinking delusionally. She could kind of, hey, Marjorie started criticizing Trump, but then she could keep her MAGA support because she was so crazy for so long. But she can't be on the record supporting every single thing Trump does, because come 2028, I think that's going to be a really unpopular position. But there's going to be 30%. Or maybe 50% of the Republican Party that will want you to be loyal to Trump still, but the other 50 will want you to be open to not. So, and it's going to be Vance is going to be the front runner. So she could position herself as, hey, Vance was a part of a failed administration that had the right intentions, but I saw what was going wrong and I can do what you thought you were going to get. And if she were to run, and then she won't win. But if she were to, then I'm done. I'm not saying I'm done doing content. I'm just saying I'm done with the belief that this ship is sailing anywhere hopeful. I'm an optimistic guy. I'm like, we can get through this. If she were to win, this show would be, I'm going to laugh myself off a cliff. I'm just going to giggle. I'm just going to watch the flames go up and I'm like, whatever. I'm not even going to give one. No, of course I want to do that, right? It would be serious and then I would have to deal with it. But I don't like the moving thing. I want to move. We got to keep fighting for, what we love. But man, it would be it. I would have no hope. So I just want to put that on the record. Because if any of you see me get really nihilistic and I'm just kind of like intoxicated every day on the show, it's because Marjorie won. That's what it's going to be. We have an idea. I don't want to tell you the name because it's so cool, but where we kind of like Seth Meyers day drinking, but politics drinking. And I would just do that. That would be the whole show. Just drunk Luke talks about Marjorie's presidency. That's the whole show. And I just want to warn you, because you can't get mad at me. Luke, you need to go and march. No. I will march this presidency. And if we lose, I will march in the next one. But if we lose to Marjorie, I will drink myself. That's it. To the whatever. That sounded, the finishing of the sentence sounded a little bit too dark, so I wasn't going to say that. Click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. We're going to continue looking at some of this.
Yeah. Like, those are the two things I can't find. And when Republicans, and I'm criticizing also Congress big time. I'm really grateful to a lot of the things the president is doing, but I'm really upset with the direction Congress is going. But when we are not doing anything to address the cost of living, we aren't doing anything about Blackstone buying up houses where most young people can't find a house and they're having to compete in bidding wars.
Right.
And we're not doing anything about health insurance premiums. Then for the love of God, what are we doing?
Yeah, but what about the people who are fighting for that? Do you want to, this is my other message. Do you want to maybe revise what you said about us? Because we're the ones who have been wanting to do something about the things you just listed. Right now, you just mentioned healthcare premiums. That's what the shutdown's about. And guess what you've been calling us every 2 seconds? Groomers, pedophiles, Satan worshipers. Could you revise that maybe? That's not even going to get you a card to our tent. It's just that I just think it would be a good thing to do. But again, it is a weird contrast where she's like, I think that we need to deal with healthcare, something Democrats have been screaming about for years. And also, the Bad Bunny halftime show is going to be the end of America as we know it. Pick a lane, be reasonable, or go back to the old Marjorie we knew and hated. All right. Then if I go take a trip to Georgia, what's the city? Is Rome, Georgia, one of the towns she represents? If I go to a trip to Georgia and I get onto Facebook Marketplace and I see you're selling your Confederate cooler, then we're going to really know something's up. Okay?
As a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say, we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that. Right. So, and I'm going to get pushback on that, but I'm just living in reality from here on out. Yeah. And if anybody's mad at me for saying the truth, then I'm sorry.
Marjorie.
If you are getting a Q-tip to clean out your ears, to make sure you heard that correctly, you did. She just said the correct solution to undocumented immigrants who have been here. Obviously, we should only have lawful immigration. And there are lots of people here who have not committed other crimes, who have been productive, who are part of communities. And the solution is not just to round everyone up. Some people have been here for 20 years. And she just said that, I mean, she wasn't really concerned on like the humane front, but she was talking about for construction. Okay. Hey, true. You at least understand that's not reasonable. You voted for it though. And you participate in the very rhetoric that makes that even something that the Trump administration thinks they should do. But okay, keep saying that. Mike Johnson responded to Marjorie Taylor Greene by being like, oh, honey. Sort of.
So let's get back to those subsidies for Obamacare. He mentioned Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican. There are other Republicans who are raising alarm. Here's what she said in part on X. I'm absolutely disgusted that health insurance premiums will double if the tax credits expire this year. Not a single Republican in leadership talked to us about this or has given us a plan to help Americans deal with their health insurance premiums. She says, again, doubling. So what is the guidance from you the leader of this party.
Yeah, I had a thoughtful conversation with my friend Marjorie Taylor Greene on the phone the other night, a couple nights ago, to inform her that there are many Republicans in Congress that have been working around the clock on this. They're on the committees of jurisdiction that deal with this. Marjorie doesn't serve on those committees, so I offered to have her come into the room and be a part of that discussion if indeed she wants to do that. There has been a lot.
So patronizing. I said this before. It's a real offer. If they're going to do the UFC fight on the White House lawns, make it between Mike Johnson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Please. Come on. It would be, they would get them to sign all the waivers. They would get authorization. It wouldn't be just violence. It would be commissioned violence. And they would be the UFC fight. And Dana White can be there doing his thing. And I mean, how cool would that be? And if I were I don't bet, mostly because we keep trying and Texas has it banned. They banned sports betting. It's like, what? So I didn't try. I'm saying I didn't because I found out it was illegal. I'm serious. And so, but if I could bet, we all agree we would bet on Marjorie, right? Versus Mike Johnson. But he did get very patronizing there. So the world is upside down. Marjorie Greene's calling for the Epstein files to be released. Marjorie Greene's talking about the failures of the Trump administration. But quote unquote less extreme Republican Mike Johnson isn't. And he's helping to block action on the things I just listed. Bizarro world.